metrics, shaping every body.
This is Dave Palumbo with RxMuscle.com in the Iron Asylum with Branch Warren. We are here less than 1 week out from the 2010 IFBB Mr. Olympia contest. I'm here with John Romano, and we're going to be critiquing and talking a little bit about Branch Warren, who's training here at the Hartford Europa Show. John, here's a guy that more people have counted out than anyone I know. That's for sure. This is a guy who's been pushed out of that top 5 at the Arnold and the Olympia so many times that you'd think the guy would want to kill people. And every single time people count him out, this guy just keeps coming back better and bigger than before. The perfect example, last year, Mr. Olympia contest, who would have thought Branch Warren would finish second place to Jay Cutler? Is that incredible?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's almost like a Cinderella story of sorts. Branch is one of those guys that keeps coming back. He even fixes what's wrong.
Yeah, isn't it amazing that he's able to do that still?
Year after year.
This is
contest after contest, he gets better and better and better.
This is a guy who's been competing since he's 14, John. He won the team nationals against Jay Cutler, what, like a long time ago. I don't even know what year it is. And he just keeps making improvements. It just goes to show you that you never stop improving if you really put your mind to it.
I will never forget the day Paul Dillette brought this middleweight or light heavyweight over to meet me and the butt man. Backstage,
Marcus Welby.
Yeah, Marcus Welby. The backstage or near by a concession stand, and he peels off his sweatsuit, and there was this amazing freak under there at that level, and it just went from there. He just kept getting. The only other guy that I could ever remember in my life impressing me that much at that stage of his career and continued to get better and better and better and better was Dexter Jackson.
Yeah, but not to the size degree Branch Warren put on. I mean, Branch probably started it the same way that Dexter did and just kept getting bigger and bigger. And here's a guy who's had more injuries. We talk about Kai Green not having any injuries. Branch has had more injuries than anyone I know. He's torn his tricep, his bicep, his other bicep. There's other injuries I know the guy has had too. And the guy comes back fast. After the last tricep tear, he told me he tore the cast off after like 3 days and was back in the gym training, light.
Hog hunting.
Well, I don't know what he did, but I'm saying he was training in the gym after a week of getting his tricep reattached. I mean, I'm sure the doctor was having a heart attack hearing this.
Yeah.
But,
what an indomitable spirit, huh?
I mean, you would have thought, after, you tear your muscle, you figure, all right, I'm going to be out for, whatever, a year, I'm going to miss, 6 months. This is a guy who competed 6 months, not even 3 months after he tore it. It's
incredible.
Unbelievable. And you know what? The fact that he looks so good now is because he's actually had a whole year or so, a year and a half without injuries. This is a guy who's pushed through injuries. I mean, this is the first healthy year he's had. He didn't make the appearance at the Arnold this year that a lot of people thought. His conditioning was a little off. Maybe he tried to come in too big to make improvements over the Olympia form. He thought maybe this was finally going to be the Arnold he won. And it wasn't to be. What does Branch have to do in this Olympia lineup, okay, to get into that top 3 group, which he wants is where he's gunning for, so to speak?
He's got to beat Victor Martinez.
Well, we know who he's got to beat, but what does he got to do to his physique?
Genetically, he reminds me a lot of Dorian Yates because he's just not playing with as full a deck as a Victor Martinez or a Kai Green or even to a certain degree Jay Cutler. I mean, he's got a lot of physical limitations, and it takes a real lot of work for him to overcome them. So, he's been dealt that hand, and how he plays it determines his placing. It also determines how the other people around him are coming in.
Right.
So it's a combination of things. If he can present himself the absolute best he can, and there's 1 or 2 guys in that top row that are off, and that's happened to him before, then he slides in.
Yeah, I'm getting a real kick out of watching him train here with Ron Harris in the backdrop, Tate with his little fucking cool shot camera taking pictures. You know, Bleckman had put him on the assignment. Yeah, I get plenty of Branch stuff. I get a lot of Branch.
A lot of Branch.
So he should have given him.
Unfortunately, for Branch, he's another guy with the MD curse.
Right, but you know what? Branch has, like you said, maximized what his God-given talents were to the nth degree. Here's a guy who still lifts super, super heavy. Despite having injuries, he doesn't care. He's still pushing maximal weights, and he's still making improvements. And you know what? The funny thing is people who say if you lift too heavy, you squat too heavy, you're going to thicken your waist. Bullshit, because you know what? Branch Warren has one of the smallest waists on stage.
Yeah. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's bullshit, I always say. And you know what the funny thing is also? Branch has got the biggest size limitation. I mean, what is the guy, 5'6", maybe?
Yeah, maybe. No, he's a little taller than that.
I don't think he's very much taller than that, John.
That's pretty short.
5'7", maybe?
Sean Ray category territory.
No, Sean Ray's like 5'4". Branch is 5'6", 5'7". And you know what the funny thing is? He's beating guys like Kai Green, Phil Heath. I mean, people never would have ever thought Branch could do that. This is a guy, you got to really, when I tell people, don't take advice from guys like Ronnie Coleman and genetic freaks, Branch Warren is one of these guys you want to take advice from because you could tell his physique was built on hard work. Yeah.
I mean, watching him train, I mean, he is the quintessential blue-collar, bodybuilder. He is a hard-working, basic movement bodybuilder who just trains hardcore heavy, and you can't help but love the guy for that
and respect him for that because he's a bodybuilder's bodybuilder.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better.
That's really what it is. As I'm watching him train here, I mean, he's in the middle of Connecticut, out of his element, in the middle of an expo, and he's training like he's got the Olympia the next day. I mean, he's the only athlete that I've seen train with this level of intensity prior to, out of his element, so to speak. Most guys, when they travel, they kind of pussyfooted a little bit, which is sometimes a smart thing because you don't want to get injured on the road. Branch doesn't know how to train any other way but all out.
Yep. Yeah, right, even 2 days after an injury.
Yeah, well, Ronnie Coleman's the same way. And you know what? Look what it did for Ronnie. I guess Branch figures, you know what? When my body gives out and it's not going to let me heal itself anymore and it's not going to, and I can't lift anymore, then I'm done. But until that point, I'm going to push it to the brink. And because if he doesn't, he figures that he's not going to be able to get the maximal potential out of himself.
Unfortunately, Dave, that's a double-edged sword, and Ronnie Coleman is the prime,
and Dorian Yates too.
Example.
Dorian Yates too. But these guys trained themselves into almost. I mean, Dorian Yates pulled himself apart, literally. Yeah, literally, exactly. He had more tears than Branch did.
Yeah,
he competed
and Ronnie
with
Coleman.
him.
He lifted himself into oblivion. He's destroyed his physique to some degree because of the all-out intensity and heavy weights that he lifted.
The funny thing is that Ronnie never really tore anything. He just kind of compressed, some kind of nerve in his spine and just wasn't able to contract the muscles anymore.
Right.
So probably his injury is a lot more frustrating than Branch's. But look, Branch has got a great outlook on this show. I know he's going in there to win. He's not going in there to play second or third. And you know what, John, all things being equal, no one ever shows up in shape. There's never a complete lineup in shape. And you know what? Don't be surprised if Branch Warren places a lot higher than people are predicting.
I'm going to have to agree with you there, Dave, because he is one of those guys that is just able to slide in. And it's happened before, and it'll happen again.
Well, with that being said, we're out of time here today. I'm Dave Palumbo with John Romano in the Iron Asylum.